What's going on, guys? Astro with Hidden Profits Crypto, a channel focused on bringing you the best low cap hidden gems and turn you into a smart risk, high reward investor. Today, we're going to be taking a first look at a new Kadena project. Now, it's been out for quite a while, but I've really been waiting for the white paper and website and some more info to come out, and that is Calen Finance. Now, if you guys know, we have taken a look at Cascade Finance, which is another DeFi platform that popped up on Kadena. But like I said, we've been waiting for some more info to come out. I've been very excited to see what Kalend has planned, and the Kadena team actually did their own spotlight video with Kalend. So if you guys are interested, go check that out. But we're going to go in full detail on the project. I want to show you guys the website. We're going to read through some important parts of the white paper. So by the end of this video, you should have a good understanding of what Calen Finance does. And when the platform launches, you'll be able to make a decision if you want to get involved or not. So make sure to stick all the way through to the end. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, so here we are at the Twitter where we're going to go ahead and start off. Now, this is at Calen Finance, redefining DeFi lending protocols built on Kadena. They have a link to their website right here. You can see they joined in June 2022 with about 1,100 followers. So if you guys haven't followed them yet and you're interested, make sure to go over here and follow them so you can stay up to date with all of their future updates and everything else. They've got some good info on here that'll give you a very basic idea, but let's go ahead and move on to the website. All right, so here we are at the website Calen.finance. So Calen, the next generation lending protocol, capital efficient stability lending protocol. We've combined the most popular and successful protocols together to give you the best features and mechanisms built in to protect you from market conditions, so your portfolio grows steadily over time, regardless of what happens in the market. So here's a link to their Discord. If you guys want to hop in there and start talking with the community, I suggest you guys do so. So features that set them apart. Kalend uses a risk-adjusted approach that considers both liquidation scenarios where borrowers' collateral assets decrease in value and the borrower's liabilities increase in value. In this way, the protocol reduces the amount of bad debts, protecting the lender's assets. Dynamically adjusted discount rate. So Calen allows the discount to rise as a function of how underwater a position is. This turns into a one-shot opportunity into a Dutch auction. As the discount slowly increases, each would-be liquidator must decide whether or not to bid for liquidation at the current discount on offer. In this way, borrowers will not get the entire position liquidated. So dynamically adjusted close factor. So Calen allows liquidators to repay up to the amount needed to bring the underwater position back. As a result, borrowers who are only slightly in violation will have less than half their debts repaid during a liquidation, while borrowers who are heavily in violation will often have more than half of their debts repaid during liquidation. And then lastly, stability pool. So Kalend allows lenders to support liquidations by providing liquidity to a stability pool associated with each lending pool. This generates additional yields for lenders and reduces the amount of bad debt as it reduces the friction for liquidations. Now, when we get into the white paper, we'll go over a little bit more how this system works, and if you're going to want to get involved, what might be the most profitable route for you to take. So make sure to stick through to when we get to the white paper. So how our system works: Calen creates properly functioning lending and borrowing pools for Kadena assets. Each pool has interest rates that are determined by the supply and the demand of the underlying asset. So you can borrow, and you'll be able to use K tokens as collateral to borrow any of the accepted asset types. Borrowed amount is limited by over collateralization, and liquidation occurs with rising price of collateral token or declining price of borrowed assets. Then you'll be able to lend, so you can supply an accepted type of asset, and then it becomes part of the lending and borrowing pool. So you'll be able to receive K tokens in exchange for these tokens that you are lending, and you'll be able to withdraw your assets at any time. And once those assets are removed from the pool, those K tokens that you are given will be burnt. So here's a little diagram kind of showing the whole flow of the system to kind of get an understanding. And I think once we go through the white paper, you will be able to look at this diagram a little bit more and understand it a lot better. So they go over the advantages of building on something like Kadena and how awesome Pact is as a smart contract language. So Calen lowers liquidation frictionlessly. Unlike compounder Aave, Calen uses a two-sided approach to calculate a borrower's borrowing capacity, and we're going to go over the white paper to see a little bit more in detail how that exactly works. Mid Q3, which is about where we are, we have the V1 white paper release, as well as the development code complete, and then for the end of Q3, we have code financial simulation audit, testnet launch, and then community launch, and then we're looking for a mainnet launch towards the mid of Q4. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up here on the website. Let's go ahead over to the white paper, and we're going to get more into technical detail of how this project works. All right, so here we are at the white paper. Now I'm going to go over the most important things here that I think will kind of give you guys a better understanding of how the project works. Now, that doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't be doing your own research. So as usual, make sure you guys come through here, read through this white paper, check out the website, go through this information yourself so you can validate what I'm saying. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Lending protocols are the foundation of the DeFi ecosystem of most of the layer 1 blockchains. Protocols like Aave and Compound have tens of billions of USD in total value locked and increase the capital efficiency in their ecosystems tremendously. These protocols also unlock numerous open financial applications and DeFi primitives, where yield aggregators leverage yield farming, and many other protocols are built on top of them. So in the remaining sections of this white paper, they will go into detail on the mechanisms of how decentralized lending and borrowing protocols work in the Kadena ecosystem. So Kalend protocol, Calen uses a already proven protocol designs with adaptations to the specific technical requirements of Kadena. So this is basically the same diagram that you've seen on the website. It is a little bit different, but once we go through this white paper, I'm going to come back up to this and I'm going to kind of explain it more in detail. And I think once you have more information, this will make a lot more sense. So we're going to start off here with the lenders. So when a user supplies an accepted type of asset, it becomes part of the lending borrowing pool. Kalend aggregates the supply of each lender. As Aave and Compound are already proven, this approach offers significantly more liquidity than direct lending. So after depositing assets into the lending pool, the lenders will then get LP tokens, and these LP tokens will be known as K tokens. As the lending pool accrues interest, these K tokens will become convertible into an increasing amount of underlying assets. So each lender can withdraw their deposited assets at any time until the lending pool of that particular asset is depleted. Once the lender withdraws the assets, the K tokens that you got in exchange for the assets that you lended will then be burnt. So next we have borrowers. So using K tokens as collateral, users can borrow any accepted type of asset from the lending borrowing pool. So over-collateralization is encouraged by limiting how much borrowers can take out as a loan. And I think this is good. Obviously, you want to have enough collateral there for the position that you have, and having over-collateralization is even better. So then you don't end up with, funds not being there that should be there. So the rising price of borrowed assets or declining price of lent assets can cause the borrowing position to be liquidated. Unlike Compound or Aave, Kalend uses a two-sided approach to calculate a borrower's borrowing capacity. Risk-adjusted borrowing capacity is covered in section 333. So next is liquidators. So if a user's borrowing balance exceeds their liquidation threshold due to the value of collateral falling or the borrowed asset increasing in value, a liquidation event occurs. So liquidators can call the public function liquidation bid, which exchanges the invoking liquidator's assets for the borrower's collateral at a price better than market price. And then lastly, we have stakers. So holders of Kalend tokens can stake the token into an insurance pool to earn extra Kalend tokens. Stake Kalend tokens will be used to hedge against risk of extreme volatility and insolvency in multiple pools in the protocol during black swan events. So I think this is great on the Kalend team's part to kind of be looking into the future and kind of planning for these kind of unknown risks. I think, we've seen in the last year with the bear market coming, a lot of these DeFi protocols blowing up because they just were pretty much living on the idea that the bull market would just run on forever. So when prices started going down and, shit started hitting the fan, a lot of these protocols just couldn't handle it. So it's nice to see that they're taking account into that risk there. So in addition, Kalend allows stakers to support liquidations by providing liquidity. In addition, Kalend allows stakers to support liquidations by providing liquidity to a stability pool associated with each lending borrowing pool. So liquidity providers in the stability pool deposit the K tokens and then can earn interest based on the liquidations processed using the pool. So an unstaking period prevents stakers from moving assets in and out of the stability pool to try to game the system. When liquidation is processed, the liquidators use liquidity from the stability pool to cancel the borrower's debt. He or she takes a small fee and then returns the discounted collateral to the stability pool. Stability pool liquidity providers essentially end up swapping their K tokens for discounted collateral assets. So then they go in here into the lending and borrowing. Now you can see some of the functions here. I'm sure most of you really don't care about that. Now, one of the last things I wanted to check out here was the K tokens contract. Now, there's a ton of other information. Like I said, I would definitely suggest you guys to read through, this paragraph and a lot of this other stuff here. There's a lot of good information in there where even if you're not getting a full understanding of it, I think just reading it and kind of knowing what's going on is a good thing to do. So K token contracts, each lending borrowing pool is structured as a smart contract. Users' balances are represented as K token balances. So users can mint K tokens by supplying assets to the pool or redeem K tokens for the underlying asset. The exchange rate between K tokens and underlying assets increase over time as interest is accrued by borrowers of the asset and is equal to the following formula, which is this right here. So I wanted to go back up here and we can kind of take a look at this diagram, and maybe I could explain it in a way where it might be a little bit easier to understand. So we'll start off here with the lending and borrowing pool. So this is where the lenders are going to be putting their accepted assets into this pool. And this is where the borrowers, when they're borrowing assets, is also going to come from this pool. Now you can see here you have stakers in two different areas. So this staking pool is basically where the Calen tokens are going to be staked. And this is used to basically ensure the lending and borrowing pool in case of something like a black swan event like they talked about. Now this other stakers, this is where you can stake those K assets in the stability pool, and this stability pool is what's going to be used for liquidators to start liquidating those positions. So you can kind of see here where this whole chart and this whole diagram starts to flow and how it starts to make a lot of sense. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding on kind of how this system works, and now you might have a better idea on exactly where you want to play your role in the project. And this is the part of the video where I wanted to go into some ideas on how exactly you could make some profit on this project. So first off, obviously you could just be a lender. So you could take some of your assets that you have, whatever those assets may be. We don't exactly know what the accepted assets will be yet, but obviously I would assume Kadena is going to be one of them. So if you have a big bag of Kadena and you want to lend it out and earn a percentage off of that, you could always do that. I think that's going to be what most people would do, as that is kind of, the basic idea of the lending borrowing protocols. You can also stake the Calen tokens. So whenever the Calen token is released, I'm sure they'll do an IDO on some platform. You could pick up a bag of that in preparation for the staking. I'm sure you'll just earn some basic APY through the staking. And then lastly, you can actually stake the K tokens into the stability pool, and that will be providing the liquidity for the liquidators to actually liquidate those positions. So you kind of have three paths you can take here. You could also just, buy the Calen token if you believe in the project and just kind of hold it. But, that's going to obviously be up to you to make your own judgment on how risky that exactly would be. So like I said, if you guys are interested, make sure to come through and check out this entire white paper. There's a ton of really good information in here. And if you don't really know the specifics of DeFi and how it works, there's some good examples in here that kind of explain, if you were in a certain position, buying a certain amount, how would this exactly work, right? So again, come in here, do your own research, as you guys should always be doing, and let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, it's going to wrap it up for me here today on Calen Finance. I hope this video brought you some good value and some good information on the project, and now you might have a little bit better understanding of how it works. So like I said, if you guys are interested, do your own research and go follow Kalend. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tick that notification bell for all my future notifications on content similar to this. If you want to follow me even more in depth, you can follow me at hidden_crypto on Twitter, and all my other links to my socials will be in the Linktree link in the description. But that's going to be it for me here today. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, peace.